Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. So in today's video, I'm going to be doing a dupes video on the very highly wanted palette, which was the Queen of Hearts palette by Colored Raine. I was unfortunately unable to get my hands on it, and I definitely regret not getting it. But yeah, I created a dupes video. All affordable shadows using Coastal Scent shadows. You guys already know me and my Coastal Scent addiction. So yeah, I wanted to create a dupes video for you guys to kind of get rid of that craving that I have, and I'm sure a lot of you guys may have. If you would like to see some comparisons, some swatches, and also a tutorial on the look that I am wearing right now, then just keep on watching. So Colored Raine released a palette which was called the Queen of Hearts palette, and they actually released it, I remember that it was during Black Friday, and I saw the palette and I was like, oh my gosh, this is so gorgeous, but I had spent a lot of money during Black Friday, so I wanted to wait on it. And I don't know, I knew it was limited edition, so I was just going to wait as long as I could to pick it up, but then all of a sudden I just wasn't able to get my hands on it. So then again, they recently, like maybe like a few months ago, they said they were going to relaunch it again because everybody was requesting it for them to bring the palette back. So they said they would be bringing it back in the summertime, but they didn't bring it back in the summertime. They brought it back about a couple weeks ago. And again, they said this is limited edition. We just have a few palettes left. So once it sells out, it will be sold out and will not be coming back. So I knew I was going to be on that website ordering that palette because everybody that has picked up that palette was raving about how good it was. So I knew I wanted to pick it up. So it launched. I'm on their site. I added to the cart, and for some reason I was just doubting. I'm like, do I really need it? I have spent a lot of money already. This palette is $50 plus shipping, so I'm going to be paying around $60 for this palette. Do I really need it? Kid you not, I was thinking about it maybe not even 5 minutes and decided, okay, Mariella, you want this palette, you've been wanting it, you will go get that palette for yourself because you really, really want it. You're just gonna go get you that palette because it's in your cart. You just need to check out, like, it's here, it's gonna be gone, you want it, go get it. And unfortunately, when I convinced myself to just buy it, it was sold out. So the next best thing for me was picking up, trying to create a dupes video for you guys and also for myself from the famous Coastal Scent Hot Pots. If you've been watching my channel, you guys know I rave about these. They're like really affordable and really pigmented as well. Some are hit and miss, but most of the ones that I do have are hits. I don't really have duds in my collection, so I decided to create my own Queen of Hearts palette with Coastal Scent shadows. And these are only $2 each. And also they do have a few times a year 50% off site-wide. So you are able to pick these shadows up for 99 cents. So very affordable. I had some of these shades already in my collection, but if I would have picked all of these shadows up all at once, I would have paid $24 for all of these shades. But again, if you get them on sale for the dollar, you would be able to pick up and create your own Queen of Hearts palette for $12, which is amazing, and it's a cheaper alternative compared to the Queen of Hearts palette that is sold out, and unfortunately that I know of is not coming back unless they decide to sneak in some palettes. But I created this affordable palettes for you guys. Again, I do not have the actual Queen of Hearts palette to compare. I am looking online, and the shadows that I picked up and picked to do this dupe video was shadows and swatches based on online swatches that I've seen. So I just wanted to do that small disclaimer. I don't have the palette. I'm gonna go ahead and just jump right in. I am going to be putting up a picture of the palette somewhere up here, and I'm going to be marking like which shadow I am comparing it to, so that way we all know what we're talking about. So the first shadow I'm going to be comparing is Ivory Dust. And I'm comparing this shadow to Crown from the Queen of Hearts palette. That shade is described as a bright white gold with a golden sheen. Again, the shadows are really buttery and smooth. So here is that. So it's pretty golden sheen, so I really thought that it was really similar to that shade. It does have the gold sheen. I think this would be beautiful as a highlight as well. The next shadow in the Queen of Hearts palette is called Royal Highness, and that shade is described as a medium dark taupe brown with warmer undertones and a metallic sheen. And I'm going to be comparing that shade to Amber Bronze. And that is a very big swatch, but as you can see, it has like the brown taupey sheen to it. I wouldn't say it's like very metallic. This shadow is really pigmented, as you can see, and I did a really big swatch. The next shade in that Queen of Hearts palette is called Your Majesty, and that shade is described as a medium dark copper with warm reddish brown undertones with a metallic finish. So I'm going to be comparing that shade to Copper Pot here. And does this shadow look familiar? I did do a dupes also on the Kylie Royal Peach palette using Coastal Scent Shadows, and this baby was broken, but I was able to save it and fix it, and now I could reuse it for this dupes video. So this is what that shadow looks like. Here are those 3 shades so far. The next shadow is called Princess. It is a muted medium dark rose with warm undertones and a matte finish. And I'm going to be comparing that shade to this one, which is called Redwood. This one's not as smooth and buttery as the other shades, but it is very pigmented also. Next up, the bright shade is called Empress, and it is described as a medium dark burnt orange with warm undertones and a matte finish. And I'm going to be comparing that shade to Bright Tangerine. This shadow is really pigmented. It's not as smooth, but it's really pigmented. I'm doing these humongous swatches for you guys. So that's what that shadow looks like. The last shade on the top row is called Queen Mother, and that shade is described as a medium dark plum with warm undertones in a frosted finish. And I'm going to be comparing that shade to Vintage Burgundy. And this shadow is pretty smooth, and it's also very pigmented. Here's that shade right there. Again, very smooth, very buttery, very pigmented. And very worth it. So these are all the shades in the first row. Let's continue on with the second row. The first shade in the Queen of Hearts palette was called Hair, I think. And it is described as a light medium peachy orange with warm undertones and a matte finish. And I'm going to be comparing that shade to Persian Peach. Again, the shadow is like really buttery and smooth. So here's a swatch of that. The next shade is called Royal Prerogative, and it's a soft medium dark brown with warm reddish undertones and a matte finish. And I'm going to be comparing that shade to Barista from Coastal Scents. Again, this shadow is also very buttery and pigmented as well. And I'm giving you a really nice fat swatch. These shadows are pigmented. I'm telling you guys, I rave about these for a reason. I'm not kissing nobody's butt. I'm not getting paid for mentioning these products. I just love these hot pots very much. So, and they're very worth it to me. The next shade is called Noble Woman, and it is a medium dark red with warm orange undertones and a frosted finish. And I'm going to be comparing that shade to Victorian Ruby. Again, it's really pigmented. And here is that swatch. You guys saw I'm just like 1, 2, 3 and swatchy. And next up is the shade Ladyship, and it is a medium dark berry with subtle cool undertones in a matte finish. And I'm going to be comparing that shade to Vibrant Plum. Online, this shadow or Ladyship looks like kind of like a maroonish purple shade, but Coastal Scents didn't have like a maroonish purple shade that I was kind of looking for, and so I just went ahead and picked this one. But here's that shade right here. This one's not as pigmented as the other ones. You do have to build this one up a little bit, but I think I've heard that purple's kind of hard to really formulate, but I just swatched it 3 times and you can see that it does build up really nicely. So next up is Duchess, and that shade is described as a medium dark brown with warm yellow undertones in a matte finish. And I'm going to be comparing that shade to Chocolatier from Coastal Scents. This shadow is actually really smooth and pigmented and very buttery. I'm giving you guys really humongous swatches. Hey, at least you guys can see the colors, right? So, and the last shade in the palette is called Dethrone, and that shade is described as a deep brown with warm reddish undertones and a sparkling metallic finish. This one's not like super metallic, but it does have a sheen to it. This shade is called Cherry Chocolate and very buttery again and smooth and pigmented. This one's gonna be a big swatch, guys. And there you go. So those were my shade comparisons. I really hope you guys enjoyed this video. I'm not gonna lie, if Colored Raine does decide to launch their palette again, I am definitely going to pick it up. My next best thing, again, is my Coastal Scents Hot Pots. I know they will never disappoint me, so I am glad I was able to pick shades very similar to that palette at an affordable price. Again, if you are unable to pick up the Queen of Hearts palette and you really wanted to pick it up but it's just out of your price range, go ahead and try these Coastal Scent Hot Pots. You will not be disappointed, trust me. Also, if you enjoyed it, don't forget to give it a thumbs up, and if you would like to see a tutorial on the look that I have going on right now, then just keep on watching. So I did apply my eyeshadow primer already, and the one that I took was the Milani eyeshadow primer and just blended it from lid all the way to my brow bone. So the first shade I'm going to be taking is this one right here, and it's called Persian Peach. And I'm just going to be taking this e.l.f. brush, and I'm just going to be setting my eyeshadow primer. The next shade I'm going to be taking is this one called Redwood, and I'm going to be taking a fluffy brush right here and just tapping it in there and applying it in my crease. And this is going to start our transition shade for our crease and this look, of course. Also in my crease, I'm going to be taking this one right here, and it's called Bright Tangerine. Again, with that same fluffy brush, and just applying it in my crease. The next shadow I'm going to be taking is this one called Vibrant Plum, and I'm going to be applying it with a more denser brush in my crease also, but like actually on my crease, just so we make sure that the lid shade blends up to our brow bone. We don't want really harsh lines, so we really want to make sure that we are taking plenty of shades to really have that gradient effect. For my lids, I'm going to be taking this shade, which is called Vintage Burgundy, and I'm just taking a flat shader brush and just packing on my brush and also tapping off any excess. And just applying it onto the lid. Plum. I'm going to go back into Vibrant Plum again with my packing brush. This is just a Coastal Scents brush. And just making sure that my lid shade and crease shade are starting to blend into each other. And again, blending out any harsh lines. For my brow bone highlight, I'm going to be taking a mixture of both of the light shades in here, Persian Peach and Ivory Dust. And just applying it up here to bring down any shadow that I went up too high with. I'm going to take Bright Tangerine again with my fluffy brush and just add a little on top of here because I really want to make sure this is nice and bright. I'm going to be creating a small wing liner, and I'm just taking this one by NYX. This is the matte liquid liner. For my lashes, I'm going to be taking these Eylure times Nicole Guerrero Casually Glamorous Lashes, and also will be applying this L'Oreal Voluminous Black Mascara off of camera, and I'll be right back. So I wanted to stick to affordable products for this eye look, but I don't have a purple like drugstore eyeliner. So I'm just going to be taking my Urban Decay 24/7 Glide On Eye Pencil in the shade Ransom, and I'm just going to be applying this in my waterline. I'm going to be taking a pencil brush, and I'm going to be taking the same shade I took on my lid, which is Vintage Burgundy. I'm just going to be applying this really close to my lash line. Then I'm going to go back with Bright Tangerine, again with my fluffy brush, and just blending this out and kind of smoking it out as well. And I'm just going to finish off the lower lash line with a few coats of mascara, and I will be right back. I'm going to be taking another pencil brush, and I'm going to be taking Copper Pot in my inner corners. And then I'm going to be applying this shade right here, which is called Ivory, just on top of that, because I want to kind of brighten this inner corner up a little bit. So it's like a brighter copper shade and not so like dark. If you're wondering what's on my lips, it's this Ultra Matte by ColourPop in the shade Tour. So this is the final look. I really hope you guys enjoyed this swatches, comparison, and also tutorial on the dupe video for the Colored Raine Queen of Hearts palette. If you enjoyed this, please don't forget to give it a thumbs up. And also, if you're not yet subscribed, please don't forget to subscribe. And yeah, I will see you all in my next video. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in my next one. Bye.